They say she spoke to the dead, and they answered. In the black of winter, when the last fire dimmed, she knelt in the bone circle, bare, breathless, burning with faith. The seer had taught her the language of silence, ashes, marrow, and blood. She wasn't feared because of her sword. She was feared because the gods whispered her name. When war threatened her clan, she didn't pray. She summoned. And when the ravens came, the wind carried her name like a cross.
In the early hours of Friday, the 20th of November 2015, intruders slipped into Metal Bridge Cemetery. They went straight to the shared grave of 16-year-old brothers, Levi and Gareth Price. The headstone was smashed, soil was dug out, and coffins were forced open. When they left, they took the skulls of both boys and left the rest of the remains in disarray. By late morning the next day, a visitor raised the alarm and police sealed off the area. Durham police called it sickening and said that this was part of an ongoing feud between traveller families.
The family are absolutely shocked and devastated at this news, and we have got officers specially deployed to help them through this time. What I would say is that by anybody's standards, from whichever community they may come, this is a depraved act, a shocking act, and it needs to be stopped. And I would appeal to anybody at all who has any information about this incident or a wider feud within travelling families that we believe this is connected to come forward and help us, help the community. This is totally unacceptable to anybody. We've had the cemetery cordoned off. We are taking it extremely seriously, and I can confirm that one grave has been damaged and the earth dug up, revealing the two coffins. Shockingly, I can also confirm that 2 skulls have been removed from the corpses.
Within a week, 5 forces launched dawn raids at traveller locations across the northeast and South Yorkshire. Officers seized firearms, ammunition, and vehicles and arrested suspects over linked violence. But the skulls of Levi and Gareth were not recovered. And inside the traveller community, people said the same thing. This had gone too far. The desecrated grave in Metal Bridge belonged to 2 brothers, Levi George Price and Gareth Price, beloved sons of the Price family. Long before the feud erupted, both Levi and Gareth died young, each just 16 years old, in separate tragedies, 4 years apart. Levi Price was the elder of the 2 brothers. In February 2001, Levi was found hanging in the garden shed of the family home in Ferryhill, County Durham. His father, Silas Price, discovered the 16-year-old's body after Levi had spent the previous evening out with friends. An inquest heard that Levi had seemed perfectly normal the night before, aside from a minor argument with his girlfriend, and that nothing else appeared to be troubling him. The Price family was devastated. Levi's parents and siblings were left to grapple with unimaginable grief and unanswered questions aside from a minor argument with his girlfriend, and that nothing else appeared to be troubling him. The Price family was devastated. Levi's parents and siblings were left to grapple with unimaginable grief and unanswered questions about what led to his death. Tragically, the heartbreak did not end there. 4 years later, in 2005, Levi's younger brother Gareth Price also died at age 16. Gareth's death occurred under very different circumstances. He was in custody at Lancaster Farms Young Offenders Institution, awaiting sentencing for a serious crime. On the eve of his sentencing, Gareth was found hanged in his cell, an apparent suicide. An inquest later found that a series of failures by authorities had let down the troubled teenager prior to his death. The Price family was struck by a second unbearable loss. In the span of a few years, Silas Price and his wife Karen had lost both of their children. 2 teenage sons gone, both by their own hand. The boys were laid to rest together in a single plot at Metal Bridge Cemetery. One coffin stacked atop the other in the small graveyard not far from the family's home. It was a place meant to be peaceful, a shared grave where the 2 brothers could rest side by side. For a decade after Gareth's death, the Price family quietly bore their sorrow. By all accounts, Sailors Price, a tree feller by trade, was a hard-working family man who cherished his son's memory. They could never have imagined that this sacred grave, the final resting place of Levi and Gareth, would itself become a target in a vicious feud. Yet by 2015, that is exactly what happened. The theft of the brothers' skulls from their grave would be the ultimate insult to the Price family, compounding their tragedies with a horrifying new trauma. Why would anyone do this? That question, voiced in despair by a Price family relative at the desecration site, echoed across the traveler community. Skulls from their grave would be the ultimate insult to the Price family, compounding their tragedies with a horrifying new trauma. Why would anyone do this? That question, voiced in despair by a Price family relative at the desecration site, echoed across the traveler community. The answer lay in an escalating feud that had ensnared the Price family in a cycle of retribution with another traveler clan. In the years following Levi and Gareth's deaths, tensions had been brewing between the Price family and another traveler family. Police later described it as an ongoing feud among members of the traveling community. While the precise origins of their bad blood remain murky, by 2015, the hostility had burst into open violence. The feud's geography reflected the travelers' roots and connections. It spanned from County Durham in the northeast, home turf of the Price family, to the traveller sites of South Yorkshire, where the rival family had a stronghold, with skirmishes and incidents erupting in between. In 2015, attackers firebombed a house in Darlington, a town in County Durham. A lit petrol bomb was hurled at a residential property, igniting an inferno. Fortunately, no fatalities were reported. Just weeks later, a stolen horsebox trailer was used as a battering ram to attack a bungalow in Darlington. In what police believe was a deliberate act, the culprits drove the horsebox at high speed directly into the bungalow, demolishing walls and wrecking the home's interior. The occupants of the house, reportedly relatives of one of the feuding families, were left terrified and homeless, though again, there were no serious injuries. Mere days after the horsebox incident, another home in Darlington was smashed by a heavy vehicle, this time a stolen recovery truck. The flatbed truck was stolen and then driven straight into a house. The impact was tremendous, partially collapsing the structure.
It's affecting us all because it's very upsetting. We have shops near at hand. We have a lovely church. We're a community.
It was about 8:30 last night, I think. Yeah, it was not very nice. Pretty loud bang.
Unfortunately, it's a problem between families, but it's affecting us all.
I think someone's going to get killed. I really do. That's what I think. I think in the end, someone's going to get killed, and it's going to get so out of control that we can't do anything about it.
She doesn't fear death. She was raised by those who ride it. She walks like the wind knows her name, like death won't touch her without permission. They say the Valkyries ride to choose the brave, but some women were raised by them. She doesn't tremble in chaos, she commands it. She doesn't wait for fate, she takes it by the throat. The blood in her veins isn't gentle, it sings of battle's wings and fire. She's not here to be spared, she's here to be remembered.